Good afternoon, Jason here, Birchfield Family Farm, working ground here in Oxford, Ohio. Good word today comes from Psalm 34. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his saints, for those who fear him lack nothing. We are tapping maple trees today, sugar maple trees for maple syrup. We are going to take you around and show you how we do that. I am going to also leave some links, trying to help folks out that are looking to start into small-scale maple syrup production. It's not a hard thing to do. I'm going to leave some links to equipment that we have purchased over the years that has helped us out. I'm affiliated in no way with any of these products or companies. These are just things that have worked for us and have lasted over the years. So maple syrup season here on the farm is just a very unique time. We really look forward to when this season rolls around each year, because it kind of, in my mind, signifies that first kind of sign of the beginning of the end of winter, and that is that is always welcome here on the farm. You know, one of the reasons this works from a production standpoint for our small farm is because of the timing. And the timing is such that, it's too early to really grow garden. We don't even start seeds for garden until early March. There's just not a whole lot else going on other than putting hay out, for the animals and getting them through the winter. So, there really is kind of this time gap. Season lasts anywhere from 2 weeks. Sometimes you get a very short season, and we've had it last up to 6 weeks. So typically the timing in our area is the end of January through the beginning of March. And so it just works. It works for us. Maple syrup is it can be incredibly time consuming. You're going, the ratio is typically 40-1, and that's 40 gallons of sap that you collect from the tree boils down to 1 gallon of syrup. So you can see that the bottleneck really is in that boil time. There are ways to mitigate that as well, and we're going to go over some of those in some upcoming videos, some things that we're experimenting with. You have to have temperatures up above freezing during the day and below freezing at night. And so that negative pressure, that creates sap flow. And then at the end of the season, typically your trees are budding out, starting to get those buds for leaves, and you're done. Food grade bucket system here with tubing. So we're using 3/16 spiles and 3/16 tubing. Now, some of the studies have shown the 3/16 stuff is smaller, but they've shown that you actually get more sap. The yields are greater with 3/16 the smaller. Something about the vacuum created in the tree. I think it's especially if you're using drop lines. You can see we've got our tap holes from last year and the previous years, and those obviously have all healed up. We're going to stay away from those. And I like to tap on the south side of the tree. Some of the old wives' tales, folklore, some of that says find a big root, tap above a big root, or tap below a big branch. The other one says tap on the south side of the tree. I don't put much credence in the root or the branch stuff, but I do believe the south side of the tree, if nothing else, you're going to get sun on your taps, whereas you won't have that on the north side. You want to go in about 1.5 inches. On a tree, you've got sapwood and you've got heartwood. The heartwood is dead. It's in the center of the tree. You don't want to get into the heartwood. So I'm going to just try and go in about 1.5 inches. And we should actually, today is mid-40s, so we should see some sap coming out right away. And there it is. We are running. So from here, all we're gonna do is take our tap, put that in the tap hole, Okay, so 3 spiles here set in the tree. You can see here we are running pretty well. Typically when we're right into the heart of the season, everything's running well. It won't be anything at all to come out daily and have a full 5-gallon bucket. You can always tap trees and just consume the water. You know, this is maple water. It's very healthy for consumption, good for the thyroid. So even if you're not set up to boil, you can always just do water, tap and consume the water this time of year. This bit here that we used on the taps is a 19/64th, and then the bit that we used to drill the holes in the buckets is a 9/32. That gives a real tight fit to that 3/16 inch tubing. Over time, you kind of get to learn which trees are your top producers and kind of where to tap. Of course, we, take note of the taps from the previous year, but try to stay away from those. This one by the road here has always been our top producer. Look how scraggly and just not a very pretty tree, but it always yields the most sap. And I can't figure that out if it's been trimmed or if a storm got it. I don't know, but we've got these huge trees, one up by the barn there around the driveway, and I always think every year, oh, this thing is going to yield tons of sap. It's going to be our big producer. Well, not really the case. Kind of curious. You can tap pretty much any species of maple tree. Sugar maple are just traditionally used because they have the highest sugar content of the maple trees. Ours here is usually about 35-1 is our ratio, which is 2.5% sugar coming out of the tree in the sap. It's also a season for birch trees, tapping birch trees, birch syrup, and you can also tap black walnuts. We set between 40 and 50 taps in a season into right around 15 sugar maple trees. This yields 400 plus gallons of sap pretty consistently year after year. This all has to be carried to the evaporator and boiled down. It's quite a process, but in the past has yielded us anywhere from 12 to 15 gallons of finished syrup. Last year it was right around 13. The process of evaporation is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to maple syrup production. It's all about surface area. The bigger surface area, the larger surface area you have, the more water you're going to remove at one time. We do anywhere from 8 to 10 gallons per hour in our setup here. We also do everything over wood, and that is also a process. Cutting this wood, having it dried and ready, can really be cumbersome, but you get to that final stage, especially that first boil of the season, starts to brown up, and man, there's just nothing like it. Just the smell even is just amazing. You get quite a bit of time to think, as long as your firebox is stoked and you're boiling there. We do keep a preheater. We use that big pot on the back there as a preheater. There's a flue pipe that runs out underneath that pot. You can see just a very simple setup here. Cinder blocks. Not a lot of expense. Biggest expense is the evaporator pan. It is a 24 by 48 by 7 inches high Silver Creek maple. We've been very happy with this pan. 18 gauge, 304 stainless. It's held up over the years wonderfully. I'll put a link to our pan in the description. Between $300 and $400 is what we paid. This was our very first firebox we built. You can see the high temperature insulation that sits in between the concrete block and the evaporator pan. I will say this, that 4-inch flue in the back was nowhere near big enough. We had to upgrade to an 8-inch in order to get adequate draft. Maple syrup is technically made at 219 degrees or 7 degrees above boiling point. From this point in time, it pretty much becomes about filtering and bottling. We like to save back about 4 gallons just for the family. For family use, that lasts us just about an entire year. And, we'll bottle and we'll sell the rest. It's a nice little addition to the income, and people really, really like the product. As with all things on the farm, maple syrup is a journey. It's a learning curve. We will learn a little bit more each and every year. Hey, thanks for spending some time with us today. Thanks for watching. Take care.